How you doing, Kyle?
What's going on, Thomas?
Not much. I have a beer.
Wait, I don't have a beer. I didn't
Though
order
you
you a
do not
beer.
have a, then there's no point in doing this, is there?
Just kidding.
Yay! That felt, you know what that felt like? That felt like a nerd sense intro.
That very much did. Yeah, yeah.
They're gonna
So we're
love
gonna
this
lose
one.
subscribers now because
Most likely, they're all going to go to nerd sense because they're like they're doing it better anyway. Um, no, we got some beer, buddy. It's been like a hot minute. It's been somewhere like last summer where we did a review together.
yeah.
I got sent a beer by one of my regular viewers of the channel. His name is Renee, and he sent me a 2014 Sierra Nevada Bigfoot barley wine style ale. And lo and behold, who just happened to have a bottle as well?
I was super excited because you posted to the group. You're like, does anyone have a 2014 or like maybe a store near them has one? I'm like, I think I do. Let me go check my basement. I had two of these and two 2015. So I was like, all right, rad. I have one and I have the time to do a review together. So let's do
which
this
is
thing.
which is great. So for everybody who's watching this on my channel, welcome to the review. We just sort of blew all over that. Welcome to the review. Welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. If you're not watching it on my channel, you're watching it on.
My channel, Kyle at NoHypeBeerReviews. And if you're watching this on my channel and you have not subscribed to Thomas, make sure you do so. And I will at him someplace.
Same here.
Description, title, both. I don't know. Keep it saucy.
Same here. Go check out Kyle's channel. Sometimes people call him Ryan. This is wrong. His name really is Kyle. This is an old joke that's been going on. Hey, by the way, speaking of something I've been curious about, because this was something somebody asked in a comment on one of your videos. When is the last time that you shaved your head?
I do it every other day, and I did it about an hour and a half ago when I got done shoveling.
Of all the weird freaking questions you could get as a beer tuber, is like, what was that all about? Oh well.
I think Jerry also has a similar look to me. I'll put it that way. So I think he was asking from like a very personal, like I shaved my head too, kind of a thing. Yeah.
Do you have any grooming tips? There you go.
That's what my wife said. She's like, she goes, another channel idea. I'm like, I can't run two channels. I'm like, that's too much for me.
Just make it a separate category once every 2 weeks. Grooming tips with Kyle. So back to the beer. It's a 2014 vintage, which gives it give or take, let's say somewhere between 8 or 9 years of age, depending on when it was bottled exactly. We're not 100% sure.
I'm gonna
But
say
yeah,
9-ish years of us.
give it, yeah, sounds decent. When was the last time you had a fresh Bigfoot?
It's been a while because it's like when I do buy it, I end up aging it typically before I drink it anyway. Like
Mm-hmm.
some things, right? You'll buy like multiples, you'll drink one fresh. Bigfoot, I just know I like it aged more, so I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you.
I remember only having had it once before, and it was a fresh one, relatively fresh, couple of months on it. And I remember thinking it. I did that with the Nerd Sense guys, thinking it felt like an Imperial Red IPA, incredibly bitter, like way too bitter, almost having like bile in your throat, that kind of bitter. So I'm very curious what this does with age, and if I'm going to find more of a barley wine style ale, as they say, which I think is weird. Barley
Oh
wine.
yeah,
If
it
they
does say
were,
barley wine style down there. Yeah.
mm. Is this easily obtainable for you, Bigfoot?
Yeah, we get it for sure.
Okay.
Especially because they have breweries on each coast of the United States now, so it's pretty
Oh,
easy to get.
that's a good question. Sorry, I interrupted you for a second. No, because you just mentioned that. Did they have two breweries by the time that this was being made in 2014?
I don't know if that second location is quite that old. Um, and I don't
Mine.
see quick inspection. I don't see it saying where it was brewed, like Chico or Chico's the one in California. I
Yeah.
forget exactly which city it is on the East Coast.
So mine definitely says, I'm going to quickly turn my message noises off on my phone.
Okay.
Mine very much states on the bottom of the label, brewed and bottled by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, Chico, California.
Oh, my bad. Mine says that too at the bottom.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So that's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah.
And the ABV is 9.6%.
Correct.
You ready for this?
Yes.
I was born ready. Oh. Mine's a bit lively. See that?
Oh, yeah. Mine's not.
This has been sitting still. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, it's still coming out. Mine's doing nothing. I mean, mine on the inside, there's bubbles forming, but not like yours.
It stopped here, but that's what it's doing. That for a beer that's been sitting still. That's
yeah, mine has a ton of sediment at the bottom, and there's definitely floaties.
Okay, I don't know about yours, but mine is still pretty well carbonated.
Oh yeah. Are you gonna pour? Are you gonna go all in?
No. I'm gonna leave a little bit in there.
Okay.
So, first glance, that is definitely the look of a. Okay, before we started this, I told you that when I did this with the Nerd Sense guys, that thing poured like clear beer.
Which blew my mind because I've never had this beer clear.
So this is definitely murky.
Yes.
Murky.
I keep going off camera to hold up to a light, and then, I mean, there's a lot of floaties in mine that I can't quite. Maybe if I use my flashlight on my phone.
So mine isn't floaty right now, but I think I might get a little bit of floaty in the end. But that could be just, is this bot? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Let me see. I'm fine with, like, that doesn't weird me out. I know there's, like, yeast and all that stuff that dies and collects like that.
Let me check.
I just had looked ahead of time, and there was a lot at the bottom, but then even throughout the bottle, there was some, so I'm not surprised.
Okay, so my flashlight works a little bit too well. This, not like big on the floaties, but like I said, it's definitely a lot murkier. And definitely from even whiffs getting right now, still smells very much like an American barley wine. This is still hoppy AF.
I mean, we haven't even done a proper aroma, but pouring it out, I could start smelling that. Yeah.
I'm curious about that. Very well on the head retention. You seeing that?
Oh yeah, no, it's nice. Yeah, you poured it a little bit more consistent than I did, so I'm not surprised yours has a taller one. But yeah, definitely.
Well, tall does seem to be the descriptor for me. So,
how tall are you?
It depends on who you ask. Matt thinks I'm 4 feet.
You and I think are roughly the same height, right?
I am 192 centimeters, which means I think that's 6'3".
Yeah.
You are
6'4". I'm not trying to one up you.
I'm
so
not
roughly the same height. And one day we will meet in person and prove it to the world by standing back to back.
Let me just quickly, 192 centimeters in feet. Yeah, I would be 6'3.5". So that's basically like a centimeter in difference. We're basically equal.
Well, and then you have the hair too, so we probably look the exact same height.
I'll wear heels.
All right, let's get into the aroma, Thomas. I want to try this beer.
Same, man. Let's go for it. Let's see what this does. Okay, that's.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that this smells more like a barley wine. There's still the American barley wine aspect, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to guess this smells more like what you think it should smell like than when you had it fresh.
This is a lot less like that bio-intense bitterness. There's much more chocolate notes. There's much more raisins, fakes, dates in there, all of that. This is what I feel when European breweries try to make a American-style barley wine, but it's relatively fresh, like within bottling canning to like a year. Let's say that I consider that fresh for a barley wine, a year old still. This is what it would be like. This is what they would mostly come across, like that big dried fruit character, that chocolate note, and definitely the hoppy thing. And the hoppy thing can, together with the marmalade, the bitterness here, the bitterness, the fruitiness, it gives it like this marmalade character.
Yeah. When I think, the hops, it's like the West Coast IPA hops, which kick out that orange. I think orange marmalade. And I don't know, do you guys call them English style barley wines? Or if people watching on my channel, sorry, Thomas's English is so good. If we haven't addressed this, he lives in the Netherlands.
Yeah, we never even mentioned it. I'm Dutch.
Sorry. So
sorry. That's
you don't know Thomas. That might not make a lot of sense on the things that we're saying. I think about it. Anyway, here we call it English style barley wine, which does not have that hoppiness. So I prefer that style. I don't dislike. I like Bigfoot quite a bit, but I prefer the English. This smells like an English with that like West Coasty orange marmalade thing.
Exactly, because here's the thing, like because of the age, that intense hoppiness definitely went down. You can tell it's hot for sure, but it goes into that sort of like that Earl Grey tannic tea thing. You know what I mean? That herbaceous and Earl Grey tea has a big citrus note to it as well. So you get that sort of Earl Grey herbaceous floral citrus bitterness thing, and that tannic note almost.
That Earl Grey thing, that is a very smart thing to say.
I have my moments.
That was really good, dude.
Yeah.
My neighbor is from England, and he's big on the English teas and all that. He just gave me some Earl Grey tea, and I recently had, and man, dude, like, because it's fresh in my brain, like that is definitely a note that's in this beer. That's
right. This is definitely that. I wish I could still get some of these and age it for like another 5 years, wondering what it does, because that sort of chocolate, almost coffee note that I got at the beginning is sort of going down now, and going more and more towards that sort of dried fruit note. That, again, the marmalade, the dried Have you ever had like medjool dates?
Yes, I have some at the house now. Yes,
I always have like that sticky. That's that sticky fruity note thing.
No, for sure, man.
Fuck me, that's awesome.
So, because you can still smell the hops, but it's not as intense as fresh. Yeah. A little mint menthol thing too.
Oh, I get what you mean. Yeah, I get what you mean. That fresh herbal note. Green.
Yeah, like
which is interesting. Sorry,
To me, it's minty, but I could see someone even like the herbaceous basil or something, but like it's a little bit more minty for me.
It depends on your point of reference, but I do very much acknowledge that a lot of American IPAs, or at least IPAs really going towards the American style. I'm talking about the more New England style. I remember once having had a other half, or was it an Equilibrium? It was one of the beers that the Nerd Sense guys sent me. It was a triple IPA. We cracked it open during the review, and that's after like a couple of minutes of smelling it, we all literally at the same time went mint.
Yeah,
I have that in many American IPAs. Maybe it's something with the soil and the climate and doing something with the hops, but that minty character. And we're talking about big on the American hops here.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the thing. I don't know, but I get what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely get it sometimes. And I think some people it clicks and makes sense, and some people are like, no, it's just a juice bomb. There's no mint. I'm like, okay, fair enough. But like, there's herbaceous is a pretty common thing.
Which is a lovely word, isn't it? Like herbaceous.
It just makes you sound smart,
It doesn't, like gargantuan and herbaceous, voluptuous. It's those words that make you like your vocab is like on a slightly different level.
It seems grandiose to say, yeah.
Grandiose.
Look at that word. Yeah. That's funny. All right, Thomas, I'm gonna start drinking this beer. Do you want to join me?
I'm gonna. For me, it's a pleasant evening. For you, it's like not even dinner time yet. So
yeah.
Cheers to all of that. That is still bitter as fuck.
Okay.
But yes, you go first.
No, it's funny because like obviously I'm experiencing this beer myself, but when I took that sip, I'm like, Thomas is going to mention it's still bitter because it is. But it's weird because the aroma led us to believe that it wouldn't be this bitter and hoppy. The other stuff's there.
It's getting towards that bio-like bitterness that oh shit.
So one thing, well, I don't want to take away from, have your moment.
It's so bitter.
It's very bitter.
It's so fucking bitter.
It like took me aback because the aroma, I'm like, yeah, like there's still some of the hoppiness, but it has faded so much. We're getting all these dried fruits. We're talking about dates and that stuff's there, but it is buried under the, yeah.
Is the entire underside of your tongue drying out right now?
And the top part is like pithy grapefruit dank.
Dank. It is dank.
And we didn't get that in the aroma at all.
No. The aroma was so much more barley wine.
Yeah.
And this is, again, Imperial Red IPA. In the palate, it is Imperial Red IPA.
I can't believe how much the hops are still fighting the good fight in this beer like all these years. And they're like, no, this is an American style, everyone. Like, we're not going anywhere.
We have this joke in Europe sometimes, in the Netherlands. Not all of us do, but some of us do, where we see American style basically means hop the fucked up.
Yeah.
I have never had an American beer labeled American style, like American bar, being this.
Yeah.
But you want to know something? I fucking love it though.
Oh, I like the flavors. Don't get me wrong. It just,
yeah.
it took me, I don't know, 3 sips to kind of get used to what I'm experiencing because again, the aroma just totally threw me for a loop in terms of what this beer does taste like. But it is very much like West Coasty IPA with more like heft, more of the caramel. Like, because you again, that stuff is there that we got in the aroma. It's just we got that more in the aroma than the hops, and then it just did a 180 in the taste, where it's more of the hoppy stuff than the malty stuff.
And make no mistake, this is definitely still a malty beer because you get that hefty malty backbone, you get that caramel thing going on, but it's just so aggressively hopped.
Yeah.
Are you getting that? Because we mentioned that Earl Grey thing earlier. Are you getting that, like that bergamot floral thing in the back of your?
I definitely get that note as well. It's a complex beer, to use that word. You know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. That is one of them. Yeah, it definitely has citrus. It has that Earl Grey thing specifically. I don't get a lot of grapefruit in the sip. It's more the aftertaste for me, and that's when the grapefruit hits.
It's like that chewing that grapefruit rind with like the both the skin itself and the white parts where you get, like you mentioned earlier, the pithy thing. I get the pithy from both the white parts of the skin and if you were to bite on a little seed from.
Yeah,
it really has that, but really supported by a hefty caramel backbone.
Yeah,
emphasizing that marmalade quality of it. I still think this could use more age, but I will say I enjoy it a lot more than a fresh one.
This would continue to age beautifully. I think we're approaching a decade on this. I wouldn't bat an eye at 15 years. I wouldn't bat an eye at 20 years, to be honest. Like, you could double the age of this one, and I would be like, yeah, I bet it's drinking great.
Do you know if this is barrel aged in any shape or form? Does Sharon have a barrel?
Yes. Yeah. So this is one that they have done bourbon barrel aged versions. They've also done some like adjuncts added to it with bourbon barrel aging. They've done, I think, some that were not aged in barrels. Like I had like a chai tea inspired one
What?
Yeah, had I think it had some orange, anise, some cinnamon. It was actually one of the best beers I had last year, but I think it got dethroned before I did my top 10.
I can see the orange and the aniseed working, but
Yeah.
the cinnamon in this.
Well, like it's not. I mean, we talked about Earl Grey. I mean, it's not that big of a leap to go to a different, flavorful tea. I mean, I get. I mean, people have different preferences, but
Cinnamon, earthy, spicy,
it
Earl
was delicious.
Grey. I get okay when you put it like that. I can see it working. It still sort of boggles the mind. In the
Yeah.
meantime, while we're talking, I'm going to do the thing and see if I
Yeah.
get the floaties because usually this would be considered heresy. But oh man, that head retention is on point.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Just a beautiful looking beer.
That lacing, look at that lacing. Like, I'm not getting any real floaties, so maybe you just had a bottle that
It could be.
had a little bit. I mean, it
Well,
happens.
yeah. Bottles can vary. Certainly, I mean, mine's been literally sitting upright on a shelf for things to collect at the bottom for many years.
Mm. And that's the thing with mine. I got it from somebody who bought it for me from a shop, and it was sent to me by a few. By the way, before I forget this, Renee, thank you so much for sending me this because this is really not just an experience, but a treat. I love this. This is in all its quirkiness and over the top bitterness. I still actually really enjoy this beer. This is like perfect after dinner for me. I'm not a big dessert thing kind of person. I like savory, bitter, so this works. So thank you very much, Renee, for sending me this. I'm very grateful for this because it also gave me the opportunity to do another review with one of my American bros, which is always amazing.
Speaking of what you're just talking about, do you get like orange bitters, like for cocktails? I get like a
Like the
little bit
Angostura,
like
like the Angostura orange bitter. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
100%. I've been making cocktails for my job in the last year and a half.
yeah,
Been learning how to do that. This is that Angostura bitter thing.
yeah, yeah. When
All
you
up in
said
all
like,
up in it.
it just made me think aperitif is before.
Aperitif, yeah. An
What's the
aperitif
word for
before
after the meal?
the digestive
Digestif or something? Yeah,
is something like that. But that would work as well.
yeah.
Actually, that would work really well. This would work great as an aperitif because you get the bitterness and everything going. But as an
Mm.
after dinner, it's not something I would do like with a cheese board or anything. It's a bit too
Mhm.
bitter for that. But just like with a dessert, I would go something a little bit more sweet.
Okay, balance
Maybe
it
a
out a
little
little bit.
bit.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but I like as a digestive as itself. This
Yeah,
would work.
yeah, I like that.
Mm. So that chocolate note that I got in the beginning, I can't help but wonder if there was a whiff of a bitterness combined with the sweetness that gave me the impression of bitter chocolate. Because
I
there's no
got I got to whisper a little bit of that. You had mentioned coffee. I didn't get that at all, but I did get like a little bit of a chocolate thing. But I don't get it in the taste really. Um,
no.
but everything else, I think we've been in agreement on. Do they have any tasting notes on their end?
I don't think Sierra Nevada does that. I mean,
None of
looking at the
us,
Sierra,
no.
if I look at the Sierra Nevada stuff that I've been selling at work, it never said anything.
No, yeah, it doesn't say anything. They don't give any tasting notes, which is fine.
I definitely have a different label because mine says best before see bottle shoulder, and there it said what we were talking about before we started recording. It says 030115. And
Okay,
since
could
mine
you
has,
hold yours up to the camera? I'm just curious how different it looks. Okay, yeah, those are different looking labels. Yeah.
I definitely have an imported
Or-
label because mine says imported to the UK by or um yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say that this is my most favorite barley wine ever. I like mine a little bit more on the sweeter side.
Yeah, me too.
Um, but considering the fact that I had the fresh one, like a year ago. Trying this now, I like it. I like it a lot more than the fresh version. I like it. I like it as a product in itself. I like the way it
Yeah.
is right now. Just take away the age factor. Because speaking of age factor, are you getting anything here that smells like portification or tastes like portification? You know, oxidation, aging, the aging process itself. Do you
I
get
don't
anything?
I don't get like I get that this beer is aged because I know what it's like fresher, but I'm not getting those
Mm,
classic aged beer notes. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that if you were to, that's the best way to say it. If you were to get this without knowing what it is, would you have classified it as a 9-year-old, give or take, barley wine?
No. No,
No.
well, and I was going to build off of something you were just saying too. If I'm in the mood for a barley wine, I'm not grabbing this beer. If I'm
No.
in the mood for hops with heft, that's when I grab this beer. And
Hmm.
I think that kind of encompasses the last 2 points you were talking about. Um,
Definitely.
that's what this beer is and does. It's yeah, I mean I get the American spin on it. Let's hop the crap out of it. Like I get that,
Mm.
but yeah, it doesn't. It reminds me. It's kind of like have you had Dogfish Head's 120-minute?
No, this is one of those things that it's just very difficult to get here.
Yeah.
I've seen it, but I've heard. I think it's something. It's akin to this, right?
Well, and that's why I bring it up because they advertise that as like a hophead's dream or whatever. They say something like that. And that's kind of like this, where yeah, there's like a lot of hops, but it almost drinks more like a hoppy blonde barley wine. Like
Yeah.
it, like so it's not the exact same beer as this, don't get me wrong, but it's like same thing. If I want hops with heft, those are two beers that will satisfy that. But if I want like a small hoppy beer, then I'm doing a pale ale IPA. If I want a barley wine, I'm doing English style. Yeah. Anyway, I
Agreed.
didn't know if you had it or not, so that's why I brought it up.
No, I haven't had, but I know exactly what you're trying to say. And
Yeah.
you know what really just strikes me right now? Now knowing what it tastes like, if somebody had described this beer to me almost in the exact way that we're describing it, I would have said I'm not in the mood for that beer.
Mm,
Like right now, I'm not in the mood for that beer. But now that I'm drinking it, this is kind of exactly what I wanted right now. This is like a sort of
nice.
what I like, because you just use those words like the hefty, hoppy thing,
Yeah.
impactful if you want to. Um, this is almost like a pick me up at the end of the day. Like
Mm,
it's something that gets your mind going. It gets you stimulated. It stimulates
yeah.
your palate, your nerves, your every little synapse that could go fire on in that gray matter we have. It just stimulates all of it, and it makes me realize I'm in the mood for this. I'm in the mood for something that makes me question a little bit more what I'm drinking instead of just enjoying it. And I am enjoying it, but it also does more. Even if it was just me having this beer by
Yeah.
myself, not with company, it will still spark that internal monologue about what is going on. And I like that. And I'm in a mood for that right now. So this just really is what I wanted right now, which is nice.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean it's complex and it's what is the expression? It not diverts your expectations, it subverts your expectations because
Yeah.
like you're going in thinking, oh, it smells like it's mostly the hops have faded and it's more traditional barley wine, and it's not, but then
Yeah.
there's a lot going on including some of the traditional barley wine notes. Yeah, I think this is a very stimulating beer until the alcohol kicks in and then puts me into sleep mode. But yes, right now I am stimulated.
I like that. Stimulated is good. We all need a little bit more stimulation. And it's nice that I feel that beers like these spark a lot more conversation than your average. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it, and people are going to hate me for it. But I think that beers like this spark a lot more conversation than your generic basic bitch double NIPA, or New England style IPA, the way you want to say it, or your umpteenth um, pastry stout, whatever you want to say. This sparks a lot more conversation and a lot more.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. Like I doing reviews, and even like I was just thinking this would have been a cool beer for a live stream, because you can kind of keep talking about it for a long time. Whereas like as much as I love, New England style IPAs, and I clearly do because I've reviewed so many of them, there's not enough for me to say about it to sustain a live stream or review this long, even if I was by myself, versus this one with two people talking. Even if it was just me talking about this beer, it'd be a longer review. Yeah.
Here's an interesting I'm struggling for the word. Topic for one of your what were you calling it again? When on Thursdays you upload videos.
Thirsty Thoughts.
Thursday, that's the one.
Yeah,
Thursday. Has craft beer gotten to a point where it is less interesting for us as beer tubers to review beers? Because it's so much of the same.
The quick version is, I have noticed, like a beer like this is a perfect example that, man, I used to drink beers like this a lot more back in the day. I want to reincorporate more beers like this in my current life. Yeah.
I reviewed a Farmhouse Blonde last weekend, and right here, right now, if you were to ask the generic beer drinker as we know him, let's not say the generic beer drinker, the generic beer geek, like, what are your thoughts on a Farmhouse Blonde? They would go like, it's a bit of a boring beer, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I bought it realizing it's probably going to be boring to me, and I'm probably going to go like, it's fun to review because, you get something else than another IPA and another stout. Cracking that beer, smelling that beer, drinking that beer took me back to why I used to love beer.
Yeah.
And now I'm not saying, I said used to. I'm not saying I don't love beer anymore, because I still get excited about so many of those insane beers out there.
Yeah.
But do you remember what it was like to just drink a beer?
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
This is just drinking a beer. And we were over-analyzing the fuck out of it, but in the end, this is just drinking a nice beer. And whatever happened to that?
We ruined it, Thomas.
We fucked up. We fucked up, man. It's our fault. It's our fault.
I blame the two of us only.
Oh, exclusively just you and me. I mean, that's it.
The European market, you influenced poorly. The American market, I influenced poorly. And
absolutely,
here we are today.
So for all of you who are watching this and say, I don't enjoy beer anymore, it's Kyle's fault. It's my fault.
And why are you watching a beer video if you don't enjoy beer anymore?
Like, it's been like 30 minutes. What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life? Spending like somebody with way too much hair, somebody with no hair, talking about fucking beer. We're not fucking beer, talking about beer.
And no one's watching at this point anyway, let's be honest.
somebody just skipped ahead, and they're like, wait, what are they blaming us for? What did we do to you? What did we do to you? We sent you the beer, you asshole.
What are these dorks talking about at this point in the video? It's funny.
Oh, man, skip back to 3 minutes ago when Kyle took his shirt off. That was fun.
I've never done that. I know someone who has, but that's not me.
I know no.
I keep doing the opposite. I keep tugging my shirt back up because it keeps like hanging too low, showing a little chest hair. The American, the Puritans started our country, Thomas. We don't have these,
The Puritans, who started the country with one of the biggest porn industries in the world.
All right, everyone watching on my channel, I try to keep it clean, but I know, Thomas, the Europeans, they're a little wacky out there. All right, Thomas, that's actually not why. But
I'm dirty in the way you like it.
So, any final thoughts, Thomas, before we wrap this up?
About the beer or
the beer, Thomas?
Oh yeah, okay, good. Just make it clear.
I'm so glad no one's watching at this point.
I love the fuck out of it. I think this is wonderful. Is it the best? Is it is it for my personal palate the best barley wine, American or not, that I've had in a while? Half and half, because it is on that spectrum of what I love. But it's also not what I almost always think about when I think of a barley wine. It is, like we talked about, very aggressively bitter. It is incredibly herbaceous. It's got so. Is it one of the best conversational pieces that I've had in a while? For sure. Yeah. Is it one of the most interesting beers that I've had in a while? For sure. Your final thoughts?
I mean, those were good, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's... Yeah, I mean, a category of just barley wines, no. But again, this like hoppy with heft category, yes. But yeah, no, I'm right there with you. We agree about this.
How much fun did we have last time when we did a beer review together? Because we cracked the hell out of that beer back then.
That one we didn't like very much, right?
No.
Yeah.
We half and half forgot, but this was a lot more fun to do.
This was the better beer to, yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my little spiel that I do at the end, and then you can do the little spiel that you do. So for me, it's always, that was it for this review. If you liked it, hit that like button. If you really liked it, hit that subscribe button. In the description box below, you'll find links to all of my social media. You will find a link to Kyle's channel, No Hype Beer Reviews. You will find a link to the Dutch Beer Collective. Please go check out all of my friends in the Dutch Beer Collective, Remy, Gerben, and Douglas. Check out mysterybeer.nl. We actually have an entire website dedicated to just mystery beers, where you can find all of our mystery beers, and drop a few comments. Always appreciate it. And again, thank you, Renee, for sending me this beer. Kyle?
That was awesome, Thomas. Yeah, so if you're watching my channel, again, make sure you check out Thomas, and I will have added him on the in the title and probably in the description box, at least in the title. So make sure you check out Thomas and tell him to do all of his reviews in English, okay? And I'm just kidding, buddy. And once you're done doing that, make sure you check me out on Instagram and on Tap. No Hype Beer Reviews at both those places. And as always, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe.
Thank you, man, for having the best beer reviewer on YouTube here. And Kyle as well, of course.
I'm hitting end record.